Keep the camera still, you dickhead. Oh yeah. Been a while since I made a video. Especially me speaking on one or showing myself on YouTube. There's really no core reason for this video. It's random, really. I'm still Mandela affected, but one thing I did want to say is I've heard from some people that they're confused by some of their memories. Okay, they're 100%, for example, like traffic lights or anatomy. They're 1000% on that's changed, but on other things they might have the current memory, but they'll also have the other one. I find that really weird, and I'm thinking, is that because if we jump into a different body, we're also dealing with the physical memory in the physical brain that used to belong to our counterpart. So when in our counterpart's body, right, their physical memory has always known something to be a particular way, and we know physical memory is a real thing. So I'm thinking now, is that what's going on when people have two different memories of the same the same thing? You consciously bring your memory from somewhere else, but all of a sudden you're in a body. You're in your physical counterpart's body, pretty much the same, but technically not the one you were born with, but although basically the same. But the other you that was in that body knows it a different way. So they've got the physical memory in that brain that you now have. You see where I'm going with this? I hope I explained that. I'm confusing myself, but I know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. And I'm starting to wonder if that's what's going on with some of the people who have two memories of the same thing, because I don't have a lot of that myself, although there was one that I don't quite understand, and that's the country in Africa of Namibia and Nambia, if I'm pronouncing Nambia correctly. Now, even growing up, I've heard of both of these countries growing up. In the current timeline saying that Nambia never was a thing. There are a couple of there's a couple of small places in Africa called Nambia, but they're such small little towns that, you know, you're never going to have heard of them anyway. So I don't think that's relevant there. But I know at one point Nambia was a country in Africa. I know that for a fact because I remember that one vividly. I had the memory of Nambia, but also growing up I have the same memory of Namibia. And I remember thinking when I was a teenager, they're two different countries on the same continent. They're two African countries. They're just two small countries in Africa. Now I admit I'm not the biggest expert on maps or African countries and that, but I know enough to know that once I done a little bit of research into the ME, and I found out Namibia is where Namibia is supposed to be. I couldn't quite understand that on another level, because I had the memory of even before I even found out about the ME. Even I'm 48 now, but even when I was 16, 17, I had both memories of Nambia and Namibia even back then. So was I shifting back and forth even back then and not know about it? I don't know. You tell me. But I still can't quite understand the Nambia and the Namibia one, because even President Trump, when he was president at the time, he got criticised because he confused Namibia with Nambia, because he actually said Nambia, and they gave him hell over that. But he's clearly Mandela affected as well, Mr. Trump. I'm sure he knows about the phenomenon, but probably couldn't care less about it. I heard that Jim Carrey is aware of the phenomenon, although he's not as interested in it as he was. Probably because he doesn't realise that he's still shifting. One thing I have to remind myself of with this phenomenon, I follow certain people on YouTube now, Eva, aka Once Upon a Timeline, Moneybags. There's a few others I follow. Chick is another one I follow. She's a lovely girl. She hasn't made a video in a while, so I hope I hope she comes back. There was a Canadian fella I can't remember his username now, but he was another good one I was following for a while. He disappeared as well. I'm kind of bragging on a little bit now, but I've kind of got my point across about Nambia and Namibia. But once I get whatever I want to say off my chest, I start crapping on about random shit after that. So that's just partly what I do. So as you can see, I'm just resting in a park now. It's probably about 8 o'clock here in the morning in Sydney, Australia, and I'm just relaxing. I'm killing some time. I've got a bit of work later this afternoon, and looking forward to it because a bit of money in my pocket. Although technically I'm not homeless, I am homeless temporarily. But if you realise how good we have it in Australia, we have so many food vans and charities here in the city. In this particular city, by the way, if the American homeless, if the homeless in America saw what we get here on a daily basis, it's going to be a lot more than their fucking jaws would drop, I tell you. Like hot meals, cans of drink, cans of Pepsi Max, cans of Coke, lemonade, bottled water. Sometimes you get bottles of milk, canned food. This is almost daily, by the way. This is almost daily. I was at a truck last night called Hands and Feet, and they quite often give away full packets of everything. And on average, you'll probably have about, you probably have 15, 16 people there at most. Not that many people. And they set up the tables next to the truck, and they give you a couple of bags or whatever. Then you can take stuff out of the trays on the table. It might be a full pack of banana bread, full packet of biscuits, cakes, whatever it is. Then you got pizza bread and all this other lovely stuff. Full pack of chocolate donuts, whatever it is. And you can just take them out and you go back to the queue, and you can go through again. You can get more drinks, you get more stuff. And this is how good we have it in Australia, folks. So if you ever have to be homeless in any country on earth, make sure you're in Australia, Sydney, Australia, because you won't fucking go hungry here, I'm telling you. You'll never go hungry in Sydney, Australia, even if you're homeless. You don't know how good we have it. Another thing about our homeless food vans here is you don't even have to be homeless to go there. As long as you're on a modest income, you're actually welcome, and I'm telling you now, you're not going to get abused for it. Unless you're standing there in a $20,000 tuxedo and a fucking $5,000 briefcase, you're not going to get told. You're not going to be told to fuck off. Basically, pretty much anyone's welcome to the food vans here. It's not like, and it's more gentlemanly than you think. It's not push and shove like you probably expect. It's quite gentlemanly here. I think that's because everyone's used to the fact that there's a lot of food there, and they know they're not going to miss out. And quite often you'd be in the queue and you'd have someone, well, you're right, mate. There you go. You go in front. I get that all the time, and I've done that too. I often let people in front of me as well. And the amount of food vans we have here, it's not just the food vans. There's some of our churches, and there's other charities and organisations set up around the city 7 days a week, and I'm telling you, it's fucking awesome. And it's another place not far from where I am now. It's called the Matthew Talbot, and they have a store downstairs that's open twice a week, and they give away clothes, and these clothes are often brand new. Some of them Adidas, Reebok. Most of them are second hand, but in mint condition. Like, again, mint condition backpacks, sports backpacks. Top brand clothing, and you go in there. Again, like, there's not a big queue there. There might be quite often. There'd probably be no more than 20 people going in, but most of the time there'd be like less than 10 people going in there. And nowadays they only let like 2 or 3 people in at a time, and I'm usually at the front of the queue. I'm usually in the top 3, so I'm usually in first, and it's bloody good. Also here in Sydney, there's a site called Gumtree. Well, it's all over Australia, but there's a lot of jobs on there. It's one of those classified app things. But I get a lot of jobs on there. I get a lot of cash in hand work. So I can go on there. And I done some work the other day where I'm crapping on about random shit, but who cares? Whatever. I got a job the other day just mixing cement. And a lot of people hire you if you don't need a white card. You don't need protective gear. If they're just doing it in their own backyard, as long as you're not working for the company, you're not on the books, they're quite happy for you to just show up in your own clothes, and you don't need protective boots, whatever. They try, they don't go fucking nuts with all that shit. You don't need it all anyway. Yeah, on a construction site, if you're working for a company, you do. But if you're just in your own, if you're someone working on your own site, and you just want some general helping hand in the backyard, then you don't need it. It's just common sense. It wouldn't hurt to have it, like steel cap boots, but you don't need that mixing cement. That's my point. I'm just mixing fucking cement. That's all I'm doing. There's nothing dangerous. You don't need any of that PPE shit, whatever they call it. And so I done that, mixing cement, get the wheelbarrow, go over there, get some more dirt, gravel, shit, cement, mix all the bastard in there, and yeah, I got $210 for that. I was pretty stoked about that. Day after that, I ended up, I still don't know how the fuck that happened, but let's just say I spent the next 2 or 3 days on the toilet, shitting my ass off. Shitting my ass off. That's right, it's one of those things that's only funny when it happens to someone else, not you. Fucking nasty case of diarrhea, you can smell it and everything. You know when you got it, because it's got that horrible fucking smell about it. Fucking gross. and that's why I couldn't go back to that particular job because of that reason. Thankfully, I don't get that. I don't get the runs very often. Well, you need to know that anyway. The Gumtree is pretty good. I get a lot of work off there. I had another one where I was again. It was a fella doing most of the construction on his own place. He because that's what a lot of people in Australia do to save money. You do half or most of the construction yourself. I was up on the bottom floor and the second level. I was just all I'd done most of the day was sweeping, cleaning up all the. Because after they'd done all the sanding, there was a shitload of fucking dust all over the place, and it took a whole day to sweep it all up. I was meant to get 150 at the end of the day, but because I put in that hour, he ended up giving me 180, which I was happy with. But that particular job really made me physically sore, and I had to rest my body for a couple of days after that because I was fucking sore. I was pretty happy about the money though. I admit. I'll jump back on the train, heading back to the city with $180 in my pocket. So but even being temporarily homeless, like, you don't need a great deal of money even with all the food vans. The other reason I wanted a bit of money is because I just like to get extra soft drink and I don't know, chocolates, bag of chips, whatever. I like to spend some nights at the internet cafe. There's one here called Geek Star, and that's if you're a member, it's $5 it's $10 for 5 hours. So I go up midnight. I'm basically there all night. So I pay $20 for 10 hours. I find it very relaxing. There's not many people there during the night, and I just sit there and watch. I'd actually just sit there half the night watching YouTube videos about supernatural stuff. So yes, I'm still laying here in the park. I've got me under the umbrella here because the sun's a bit bright, and I'm crapping on about my life and Mandela effect, having diarrhea, some work. You're fucking crazy enough to listen to it because you're still here. What the fuck? I would have left ages ago. You're still fucking listening to this shit. Each to their own, I suppose. Not that I don't appreciate the company, but well, I'll say one thing about you. You've got balls. I can't say you don't have balls. If you're still watching this shit and listening to it, you're pretty bloody tolerant, put it that way. I would have fucking left somewhere from the start. No, fuck this, I'm out of here. I could find something better on YouTube than this garbage. No, I'm not putting myself down. That's what we Aussies do. We make fun of ourselves. Aussies do that more than any other race, just so you know. It's part of our culture. It sounds like we're putting ourselves down, but we don't do that. It's just a part of our culture. We can crack jokes about ourselves. And a lot of Americans don't understand that. They see it as putting yourself down. You know. Anyway, it's kind of weird. I'm making a video and just random shit comes out. Might as well be fucking diarrhea. The shit I'm saying. Yeah, you got some beautiful women walking past. I don't want to point the camera right at them because I know some people don't like that. Even though it is a legally protected activity and whatever, you know, but I don't know, I'm a little bit funny about that stuff. There's a city over there. I'm pretty much right next to the CBD. Like 20 minutes. Actually, this video wasn't meant to go 20 minutes. It was only meant to go like 4 or 5, but when you start crapping on about reading them shit, time flies even when you're not having fun. Holy crap.